Coming up, we'll take you on a tour of a 100-year-old boathouse that's been lovingly restored to its original luster. Serving as the southeastern gateway to the Adirondacks in northeastern New York, Lake George stretches 32 miles in length and varies from 1 to 3 miles in width. Along its shores sit big hotels, small private camps, and an array of boathouses. But it was the Lake George Boathouse Bed and Breakfast that really caught my eye. This picturesque boathouse seemed to be so eloquently carved into the landscape of Lake George. The boathouse was built back in 1914 by world-famous speedboat racer George Rice. Joe and Patty Silipino are now the proud owners of the Lake George Boathouse and were very excited to give me a tour.
Hi, Aubrey.
Hi, Joe. This place is beautiful.
Come on in. You're just in time for breakfast.
Oh, good. I'm starving. Each morning, guests sit down to a homemade breakfast, compliments of the Lake George Boathouse. And once tummies are full, Patty and Joe talk to guests about the Lake George region and answer questions about the history of their home. As guests head out to enjoy the day, I take advantage of the Silipinos' time to tour this magnificent little lake castle. So, Joe, this house was built in 1914, and George Rice was the original owner. He was a famous speedboat racer.
Yeah, George won the Gold Cup in 1933, 34, and 35, and this is the house being built right on ice, which was amazing. George Rice's granddaughters stayed with us, and they had this picture and said, "Hey, Joe, we would rather it be here on the wall of the boathouse. That's really where it belongs." So.
And what's up here?
Here's George and Mary taking a leisurely cruise in the El Legato, right past the boathouse. Just a great shot.
Even the dog smiling in that picture.
He loved it. How can you not smile being in the company of those two? George Rice Sr. And his family from 1901 or 2 would summer up in Lake George. And he decided that he wanted to purchase a place. And he had noticed the boathouse, which was just a boathouse at that time. They had purchased it and built this magnificent home. And then George decided to get into boat racing. And he housed the El Legato in the house. And I believe that was the original plan all along.
But when Rice passed away, his family, which was established in California, decided to sell the residence. For years, the home went through a dozen different owners who maintained the property only for summer vacationing. And in 1995, the Lake George Boathouse went up for sale once again.
It just caught my eye, and I just wanted to be in it, so we rented it. We moved in on Memorial Day, and we stayed till Labor Day, and we had the time of our life. When we left, it was probably the saddest day. We thought about it the whole time we were sitting there in the winter. So I made a phone call and first asked if they would rent it again for the next season, and they said, well, if we don't sell it, you can take it. And that even got me more worried.
But it shouldn't have, because Joe actually put his American flag over top of the for sale sign in the front porch, so no one else ever had a chance of buying it.
And as they say, the rest is history. Joe and Patty purchased their dream home, but there'd be some major renovations in the near future.
The house had to be leveled. It was leaning towards the south. There was a 10-inch difference between front and back.
You're kidding.
And before you could start doing anything in here, that had to be level.
Did it affect this structure at all?
Well, the only thing we had to do in the ceiling part of it was to clean up the beams. We sanded them, restained them, and put a walnut finish on it, which really came out great. All the exterior windows were replaced, all the exterior doors were replaced to look just like it did back in that day. The fireplace, that was a whole nother accomplishment. We had to take off the mantle, re-level it, and it fitted in perfect.
And I'm sure everyone enjoys that fireplace.
Oh God, our guests, we have a fire for them every night and they just love it. Well, I want you to see this. This is what we call the grand porch. This is just absolutely breathtaking. Our guests, they come out here, they just love the view of the mountains and the lake, Dome Island's right in front of us. And Patty and I, we sit right over here and
nice.
we grab a glass of wine, and it's just perfect. It's just perfect. I mean, George Rice really knew what he was doing when he built this porch. It's positioned absolutely the best you could be. There's a lot of maintenance that we have to keep up with, and this floor is one of them. Mm-hmm. We love the way it looks. We try to, every year when we close down in November, we'll have someone come in and re-varnish them.
Now, is that because you're right on the water that you have to do these every year?
Well, keep in mind, 97% of this house sits in the water, so you do have those maintenance chores that you really have to keep up on. But let me show you something that you really want to take a look at.
All right.
The history of these floors are awesome. In the great room here, look at them. We're about to just buy wall-to-wall carpeting, and we're out in the store looking. We got a call, and our contractor said, Joe, you won't believe what's under here. It's called longleaf pine. It's insect and water resistant, and we just have to re-varnish them, and they'll come back to life, and it would just give a great look to the whole place. Roughly about 3,000 people every year come through. Look what great condition they still are.
They certainly don't look 100 years old, that's for sure.
No, they don't. We have better than 50% repeat business coming in, and they've become our friends. And matter of fact, one of the couples was in our wedding that we became so close to them. And they were one of our first couples that came through the door in the year 2000.
Now, Patty, this is one of 7 bedrooms that you have here at the Boathouse.
That's correct.
But this one is a suite.
Yes, it is. It's Mason's Adirondack Suite. It was named after one of our grandsons and obviously done in Adirondack style.
And the focal point of this bedroom is obviously the bed.
Yes, it is pretty grand. It was made in Montana. The headboard itself is 500 pounds. It took 3 men to bring it in here.
So this bed is not going anywhere.
No, it isn't.
Now, what about those skis?
The skis are special because they belong to my family. Actually, they were my oldest sister's skis.
They go perfect. And every Adirondack room has to have a set of antlers.
Yes, it does. Bearskin rug, moose head. We went with the antlers.
And every bedroom in the Boathouse has its own private bathroom, which is pretty unique.
Yes, it does. When we decided that we were going to do the B&B, we felt that every guest would like their own bathroom, and that's what we did.
And for the suites, they have a bigger bathroom with a nice 2-person jacuzzi tub.
Yes, they do, and an oversized glass tile shower.
And a fireplace. I could easily stay here for 3 days and never leave this room.
Oh, that's great.
Aubrey, you saw how we try to keep the inside of the house as authentic as we possibly could, and we tried to do the same on the outside. This stonework was cut back in the early 1900s, and Herman Seaman was the stonemason who built a lot of the mansions on Millionaire's Row.
Wow. Now this is new though, right, Joe?
Yes, it is, and we went to a lot of quarries to try to find the right kind of color, and we had no luck. We asked a lot of the locals, and they told us about an area that we could get it, and sure enough, we did.
And it matches perfectly, you would never know.
It's a great piece of artwork. And we made sure we got the same color hue on the stone as the main house, so it would really flow really nice.
And I can see why you did it, because it gives you easy access right to the lakefront.
Yes, it does. As a matter of fact, our guests love the fact that we have steps going right into the water.
Now, if the lake's too cold for some of your guests, you also have them covered with a hot tub.
Yes, we do. You know, every good B&B has to have a hot tub. This is a 6-person. The temperature we keep around 100,
Yeah,
102 degrees. It's just a great way to end the day. But Aubrey, did you come here to see my hot tub?
No, I didn't. I came to see your boathouse.
Well, come on, follow me.
Now, Joe, you had to do a lot of work on this boathouse, right?
Yes, we did. We wanted to make sure it would never tilt again, so we added a lot of structural beams to it to re-support the main boathouse, and I think we definitely accomplished that.
And this is actually where the Elegado was parked?
This is where the Elegado was parked. It was 25 feet. It fit in here perfectly.
Now I'm noticing there's a garage door. Is that typical for most boathouses?
Well, back in the early 1900s, it was not, but we decided we wanted to make sure we had a covering to that doorway, so we added that. It keeps the elements outside and keeps the temperature in here at a decent level. Take a look at these ceilings. We had them sanded down, revarnished, so they look like they did back in the early 1900s, and they did an outstanding job in doing them over.
It really looks nice because it reflects the water and it complements Miss Boathouse perfectly.
It does. I mean, Miss Boathouse is a 33-foot hacker craft, custom sport. It's solid mahogany. It was built up in Hague, New York, right up at the northern part of Lake George.
Now, do your guests get to go for a ride in this?
They sure do. Every day we take them out for an hour-and-a-half tour. We can take up to 6 couples. And would you like to go for a ride?
I would love to.
Let's go.
All right. Going out for a ride on Miss Boathouse was a perfect capper to the day. Despite the dreary weather, the Filipinos and I really enjoyed our visit. I think it was Patty that said, "You can never have a bad day on the lake, whether it's sunny, rainy, or snowy." And it's true.